Hola amigos. Welcome to the Hyde Park Revival, brought to you on the Build Network. And today I'm going to get into a really fun subject with you, one of my favorite subjects that I feel like I can bring you a ton of value on, and that is going to be modern matte finishes, right? So what the heck is a modern matte finish, you ask yourself? Well, let me give you some examples here. We've got this 100-year-old floor that was the decking and the subfloor of this home that's sitting on these unhewn cedar piers, and we refinished it. We brought it back down to its natural color, and then we did a matte finish clear coat that is non-ambering, and this is what it looks like. And it's pretty darn sexy if you ask me. So when I'm finishing wood, oftentimes I'm going to get into a matte finish. Satin usually is going to be the highest sheen that I'm going to go to. So now let's get to walls, like right behind me here, right? So this is a Benjamin Moore product. I buy it at my local Clements Paint store. I love those guys here in Austin, Texas. And this is a modern matte finish as well. So this is a Scuffix product. It's totally scrubbable, super cleanable, and it's just a killer looking finish, right? You can barely see any imperfections, and it really plays nice with trying to make things look as perfect as possible. So let's take that same concept of the walls, of the floors, and let's veer off in the direction of cabinetry, right? So when I first started getting into this more European style, full overlay cabinetry, which is kind of what you see behind me, this right here was pretty much the main thing people were doing, right? And so you say, well, what is this? This is a super shiny finish, and it does leave a lot of marks and fingerprints and all kinds of things like that. And I've done some pretty slick installs of these kind of like shinier finishes, if you will. For example, we did a wonderful bathroom vanity that just looked perfect to be shiny. But in general, I would not recommend doing this sort of finish for a kitchen or anything that's going to be a high traffic area that you're going to be using all the time, because it's just going to be really annoying having to kind of wipe that down, right? So why don't you do something not as shiny? Well, first off, it didn't really exist. A few years ago, like, that was the main option that you had. And, you know, times have changed, and we have newer and better. So newer and better to me is going to be a finish like this. Like, I love this. This makes me feel so good inside looking at this, touching this, feeling this. Like, it's beautiful. Why is it beautiful? Well, it really coincides with all these modern matte finishes that are so popular today. And I think they just have a very calming effect and a calming quality to them. And it allows for other things to be more on display, such as artwork and furnishings and decor and all that sort of thing. Even countertops, right? So I brought a sample of countertops, and you know, this is a white on white, but countertops have their own sheen. Our lowers here are actually going to be this color, which you see behind me, and so that's kind of how that looks. And you see, you get a really nice dynamic range of sheens here, because you got more sheen on the countertop, less on the cabinet, and that's a good way to complement things. Sometimes when you just get too shiny, it just gets to be a little bit too much. Right? And it can look cool, but now you kind of got double shine. So, you know, I may prefer to have more of a subdued matte finish, right? So, kind of rounding out the video here, we've got these nice, pretty matte finished panels. We have our matte finishes in the rest of the home, and I think we're at a really good place to spruce up the house, get into that decor, and bring in some of those elements that are really going to draw your attention. And then this stuff can be more background elements. And I really think that's a good place for these items to be. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial on modern matte finishes, and check out more of my content coming at you weekly on the Build Network. Adios, amigos.